And hello, everyone. Here we are for another exciting Tweed Talk.
Hey.
Hey?
I should say it 3 times.
You should say, yeah, you should say it 3 times. Oh, today, I'm very excited today because we have our friend. We're going to wait until a few people come in. We have our friend, Dr. Bob Goldman.
Mm-hmm.
We have been talking about him.
Hey, Daryl.
Several people mentioned him in the other interview.
Yes, he's been the topic of conversation a few
several times.
Mm-hmm.
Several times. And, you know, I got to tell you something. You see this thing here?
Okay.
A weapon, right? Because of this weapon, I have met so many people.
Okay.
Now, when I used to work at the Brickman Hotel.
The Brickman, that's going back.
Right. I did a little show where I will do the nunchucks, right?
Yeah.
And people will see me practice and they say, wait, you got to meet this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this guy, you know, he could do the nunchucks really well. And he happened to be Dr. Goldman.
Okay.
Now, the same thing with Dr. Rosa. Same thing. That's the same way I met him. I was doing the nunchucks and somebody wanted to, told me, you should see this guy. Mm-hmm. He was Dr. Rosa. So 2 of my favorite people I met because of this weapon right here.
Nunchucks, yes.
And we were both teenagers at the time. And of course, we're going to talk about a little bit of that.
I heard you know, many people, the people that we've interviewed,
mm-hmm.
you know, and met through the martial arts community, you've known for a few years, but Dr. Bob, I've heard the stories. You've known him since you guys were knee-high to a grasshopper.
And
we're teenagers. Teenagers running around the pool at the Brickman and folding towels and doing martial arts.
I used to perform outside the pool. He was inside the pool.
Gotcha.
we
Hey, Leon. Hi, Ruth.
Hey, everybody.
People are clicking in now. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yes. You know, another thing, we have a lot of things in common.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the arts, with martial art, and he's an artist also. We're going to discuss some of that thing, and just a lot of things in common. He wrote a book. See, I wrote a book,
mm-hmm.
but he wrote lots of books.
Yes, yes.
Things like that. So I'm going to show a little video.
Okay.
Before we bring him in.
Yeah,
and
let's
then
show a clip.
When we come back, Dr. Bob is going to be with us. Okay. So I'm gonna show a little video. So one of my favorite video actually. No.
Bob Goldman's life has been filled with firsts. He was the firstborn son of Arnold and Alice Goldman. He was the first in the family to become a physician and earn his PhD. Bob was also first in the Goldman family to write a book. His first book, Death in the Locker Room, Steroids in Sports, became a bestseller. He wrote it when he was still in med school. It was the first of over 40 books that Dr. Goldman has written to date. He also developed the first drug testing protocols for Ben and Joe Weider in the sport of bodybuilding. Dr. Bob established the first ever personal trainer certification program, which literally created the personal trainer industry. He was among the first pioneer research in the area of brain resuscitation and organ preservation. His companies have registered over 150 patents in this field. In 1992, Dr. Bob co-founded the first anti-aging medical society, which coined the phrase anti-aging and gave birth to the entire anti-aging marketplace. A marketplace today that is valued at over $180 billion globally. Dr. Bob's remarkable series of firsts actually started when he was a teenager. He was a four-sport athlete in high school, including football and wrestling, and set his first world strength record when he was just 14 years old. He would go on to set 20 world strength records, all firsts, including world records for consecutive handstand push-ups, sit-ups, and one-arm push-ups. Dr. Goldman is a black belt in karate and a Chinese weapons expert. He was an all-college athlete in 4 sports, a 3-time winner of the John F. Kennedy Physical Fitness Award, and was voted Athlete of the Year. And it all started on the first day of elementary school in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, where Bob grew up with his 2 younger brothers.
The first day in
Hey, Dr. Bob.
Hey.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
I am super good. How are you?
Good, good. It's nice to see you, and I see your lovely home.
That's
I'm
the
in my
magic of-
Montana joint right now
Oh,
because I live in
Oh.
a bunch of places, but that's where I'm coming to you from today.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful.
I see the weapons in the back there.
hmm
Yeah, I like to keep a lot of them in every house.
Oh, that's cool. Just in case, you never know who's coming to visit.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
It's like the Roach Motel. You come in, but you're not getting out.
Oh gosh, I love it. So welcome to Tweed Talks. We appreciate you joining us tonight. We know you are extremely, extremely busy, so welcome.
Well, we go way, way back, me and Pedro. So I don't give many interviews these days, but I was happy to do it for you guys.
And
It's
we're so glad that
much
you,
appreciated.
yeah, because we've been bringing your names up a lot.
Yeah.
So I figured we'd bring the man himself.
Yeah, so many guests that we had on have a connection with you in the martial arts community, several, even over the past couple of weeks. So, and your name just always seems to come up in the conversation. So we were talking about Atlantic City. And we know we always run into you there. You're always there. So, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking forward to January. It'll be a great event.
Yes, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I missed your event this past month, right?
Yeah, we did it at the Mr. Olympia in Florida, and it was an off-the-hook event. I mean, we had Marcus Allen, who was an NFL All-Pro. He's actually the 3rd Heisman Trophy winner that we've inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame. Stephanie McMahon, was married to Triple H at the WWE. She took the private jet and just flew in for the induction and then flew right back out again. We had Peter Westbrook, who is the first Black Olympic fencer and won 13 national championships, world championships. Quite a terrific fellow. We had great Grandmaster Ernie Reyes, who I'm sure you know of on the West Coast. We had my good friend Billy Blanks, Grandmaster Billy Blanks, also was enjoying it. We had multiple Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler, was also inducted this year. Next year is the biggie, Next year is sort of like our sort of 10th anniversary. And so it's all going to be MMA, UFC, world champions. People are going to be killing themselves to get in that room. Next year is going to be
You cut off a little bit. Insane.
Yeah.
We got insane from there.
I can't wait to see that one.
So when did you start doing martial art? Because I know when I met you, you were already doing martial art.
Yeah, I think we met, I was 17, although I lied about my age to get the job because they weren't hiring anybody younger than 18. I applied as a lifeguard to a whole bunch of the hotels up there. They all turned me down because I was under 18. So I said, forget this. So I just put 20. I didn't want to take a chance. And every one of the hotels called me up. They wanted to hire me right away. The first interview, I got hired. Larry Strickler, who you know at the Brickman.
Yes.
And funny part was, he asked me, did I do high diving? Martial arts, yes, and gymnastics, yes. But he also asked me, do you know how to do high diving? Well, I never jumped off a high board in my life. I grew up in the projects. In the ghetto, we didn't have high diving boards. And so, you and I, we both used to do those water shows where we do the gymnastics on the cement.
Right.
And so during that first water show, he goes, okay, go show us what you can do on the high board. And I'd never been up on a high board in my life. So here I'm up like, meters up in the air. And all I know is what I saw on the Olympics where they spin around and keep spinning around doing somersaults. And so I jumped off the board. That's what I did. I spun around like 4 or 5 times. I hit the water so hard, it almost knocked me out. And people thought it was great. They thought it was like a clown dive because I slammed on my back. And I had to do that every week. He says, that was fantastic. Can you do that every week? I said, okay. We were making like $50 a week, which was a lot of money to us back then.
Yeah.
Because we were just kids. And that's where we met back then. I will like to tell a Pedro Tweed story that I think we both remember that your wife may not remember, because this is, we're going back so many years ago. But there was a head of the camp council. The guy was about 6'4", real big guy. And of course, Pedro, you're short, and he thought, he didn't think you were much anything. And the guy was sort of making fun of you. And he said, okay, well, what can you do to me? Let's go at it. And you did a scissor kick on him. Guy went down like a tree, 6'4", bang, right onto the cement. That was the last time I think anyone made fun of you at the hotel.
Oh my gosh.
This guy, he went low, scissor kicked him, caught both his legs, and this guy just went straight over in the air like it was like one of those comedy movies, right down. That was it. Never had another problem the rest of the summer.
Yeah, we were friends after that.
Yep. He decided there was a safer way to go.
Yeah.
Then we didn't see each other for years after that. And then I was looking to become a personal trainer. And then I was in a magazine. I saw his name.
Yeah, right,
in magazine.
right. I remember. Okay.
I said, is this the same guy? So I called because, of course, you created the personal trainer. You're the one who coined that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I started that profession, there was no. So I worked in the gyms. In fact, I worked in the first Jack LaLanne gym in New York City. We had no certifications. We had no training. All we used to do is clean the mirrors, vacuum the rugs, and we were never really trained in anything in terms of how to train clients. So I figured it was time to actually put together a whole certification program. So in the late 1980s, I wrote up the whole program, designed the whole thing, and we launched what is today NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, which went on to become the premier certification in the world. I think we certified 600,000-700,000 people by now. I'm still president emeritus of the organization, although I'm not actively involved in, the education components like that any longer. It sort of launched that whole profession. There was no such thing as a CPT. I coined the term certified personal trainer. Mm-hmm. And within 1 year of me doing the first certification ever held, 270 other groups popped up doing copycat certification. So, if you do something good, you're going to get a lot of copies. So I guess that's the best type of compliment is to be copied.
Yeah. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Are you flattered?
Right.
Okay.
Were you flattered by that?
Not really, because it was more competitors to deal with. I'm a businessman, and I like to dominate the field, just like we've done in when you're fighting somebody, you want to dominate the fight. And in business, you want to dominate the industry. We've been very successful in doing that in the anti-aging industry with the largest conference exposition group in the world, website, and so on. But being competitive, I can't say I was angry, but I was even more competitive then because I wanted to keep us at the head of the pack, and we were successful in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Agreed.
And then, of course, you gave me a copy of this.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, that was back in 1984.
That's a good one.
Yes.
So that book is Death in the Locker Room, Steroids in Sports.
Yeah, that was my first book out of, I think I'm over like 50 or 55 books now, but That was the first one. I had to write that out by hand, by the way. We didn't have computers. I was a poor med student. I couldn't afford a computer. So I had to write that whole book, because I didn't even have a typewriter. I had to write it by hand and make 3 copies. And we used to like put a dime in the Xerox machine for every copy. So I kept 3 copies in 3 different places.
Yeah.
If something happened to one, I'd still have a copy. So things were a lot different back then. It was before computers and word processing and editing. You know, you made a mistake, you had to redo the whole thing. And
Oh gosh.
it was not so easy back then.
So what was it that you saw exactly that inspired you to write that particular book, your first one?
Well, when I was training, I started doing world records at age 14, and I noticed in my upper teen ages, I started to see a lot of hypodermic needles in the bathrooms, and the people doing a lot of weird stuff. And so I got a lot of interest in anabolic steroids. It ended up being one of my PhD doctoral theses on androgenic anabolic steroid chemistry. I have 4 doctorates, and that's one of them in that particular area. And so the book was my first entrance into book publishing and learning about it. And it was kind of funny. I was in med school at the time when the book got published in 1984. None of my classmates even knew about it. I had done an interview in Good Morning America, which at the time was the #1 show in America. And I was in the doctor's lounge, and all of a sudden I come on TV, and all my classmates, my fellow docs, see for the first time that I'd even written the book, because I really didn't tell anybody. I just did it, quietly. And it was a bestseller. It was reprinted, published over time by 5 different publishers, sold, a few 100,000 copies. And a lot of the copies they made Xeroxes of in South America. So, there are a lot of copies out there I'm not even aware of in different languages.
And then
the E Factor, that book was put together because I started a project called the High Technology Fitness Research Institute to, with all this fitness equipment, nobody was doing any analysis. So I developed a laboratory when I was in med school. The laboratory grew to about 40,000 square feet, and all the major companies donated full lines of equipment: Universal, Polaris, Paramount, Kaiser. And I would do an analysis on the equipment to see what was the biomechanics, safety, and so on. And then I did an article with USA Today where we're talking about home fitness equipment. And so many letters and calls came in that I didn't give them any more interviews in that topic, because so many people wanted, personal questions about their fitness programs. So I couldn't handle that when I was a med student.
Wow. And then you founded let's talk about your world records. What made you want to do that? Because I remember back then when you did sit-ups, the record was with the legs straight.
Wow.
Yeah, the old way we had to do world records was straight leg sit-ups. It's not really great for your back or your psoas muscle. Right. And you had to touch the elbow to the opposing knee. So, back and forth. And if you didn't come all the way up and all the way down, they didn't count. And I did 12 or so 1,000 at the time. And David Frost used to do the Guinness TV show. And that same week that I was doing those things, a guy supposedly did the world record for 10,000. And I was 2,000 or 3,000 more than he was as a teenager. So I said, let me go and find out what's going on with this Guinness stuff. And so I contacted them and started doing a whole bunch of world records for a Guinness World Book in handstand push-ups, one-arm push. I just started looking through the book and saying, okay, what can I break? And ended up breaking quite a few of them.
Yeah, well, that inspired me because I saw you on television, and I saw, and then when you went to the Brickman and you did the handstand push-up there, but I didn't want to go against you. So
well, you're a better martial artist than me, so maybe not. But you used to do a front planche, which is a very, very, very difficult maneuver. Very few people can do that. You got to be a really polished gymnast, and that's an accomplishment to be able to do a front planche like that.
Yeah, I did that because I didn't want to go against you. So I decided
You picked something else?
I picked something else.
Well, after I
Yeah.
saw you take the guy who was 6'4", I wasn't ready to go and run and spar with you either so quick.
No, it was all in fun afterwards. And I had a painting that was done of you, but I couldn't find it because I wanted to give it to you. It was a painting that was by Joe Inlaw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Joe has passed away. I've only
Right.
there are only 2 portraits ever done of me by an artist. They were both by Joe. One when I was 17 as a lifeguard. He just asked me if I would pose for him because he would use that drawing to sell other clients. And then many years later, unbeknownst to me, he did a huge oil painting of me, which he ended up giving me as a present. I had never seen it, didn't know that he was doing it. I had it framed in a really Mongol frame out of respect to him. And I wanted to fly him to Chicago to see it, but unfortunately he had passed away before we got together.
Yeah.
He was a great artist, terrific
Yes,
artist.
he was.
Phenomenal.
Also, he called me a couple of times, and he practiced Tai Chi with me at Brickman. Such a nice guy. Now, with the martial art, you are inducted on every single martial art Hall of Fame that there is.
Every post that we
Every
see,
single
yes,
one.
he's getting another well-deserved award.
And
Well, it's kind of funny. I'll tell you the whole story how that happened. As we know, we started training very young in our early teens, and at that time I trained in Chinatown. I take the train into the city, which was kind of dangerous and crazy at that time to do anyway. I was the only white kid in the whole. It was all black, Chinese, and Puerto Rican. I was the only white kid. They go, "What the hell are you doing here?" And then I trained in Asia for a while. I got my 6th Dan black belt in Malaysia in 1986. And then I took a long break from the martial arts community. And in 2012, because I was a sponsor of a number of events at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Sports Festival, which, as we know, is the largest sports festival in the world. Arnold, I donated the statue of Arnold, the 800-pound bronze, to the city, and at that time sponsored the strongman competition and the Highland Games. And Arnold asked me to sponsor the Arnold Sports Film Festival. And he said, "Hey, why don't you do a movie on yourself?" I go, "No, I don't think that would be, nobody would really care about it." He goes, "No, I really want you to do that." So I did, and in it had some world records. And Chuck Zito and Alan Goldberg were there at the Arnold. They see the video. I never met them. I knew Chuck, I knew of, and Don the Dragon Wilson I knew of, but I didn't really know them. And they're both saying, "Hey, you got to come to our event. We didn't know you did all this stuff. You got to come to our action martial arts weekend." This is in 2012, the end of 2012. So I go in January of 2013, and all of a sudden I run into people I used to spar with back in Chinatown, instructors I used to work with back, decades earlier. And that's when I sort of re-entered the martial arts community in 2012, 2013, but I've been away for decades.
Wow.
Because of my medical training and education pursuits and business pursuits. So I'd sort of been out of it for quite a while, and it's great to get back up into it again, and and then helping to sponsor certain events and movies and things that we were doing, which was all good fun.
Which brings us to the next thing, movie producer.
I don't really consider myself one. I only helped support some of the movies because my friends were in them, and I just wanted to see the movie get made. And so I supported, a handful of movies, not a ton of them, but enough to get to experience it. And we were both in Father and Father together. I saw you get thrown like 5 times in a row. Fortunately, it was a mat, I think once you got thrown on the cement floor, though.
All of them were cement.
Oh yeah, all right. So the wimpy guys went on the mats, on the cement.
I was used to it because Larry Strickler's daughter used to throw me on the cement by the pool over there where you used to dive.
Well, I'll tell you, it was interesting. You remember your friend Bob, who was a tremendous athlete and gymnast. They used to do the demos we do at the Brickman. You remember way back?
Valentino, yes.
And we grew up, I don't know that you did, but the rest of us grew up in the projects, and that I think he got killed in some gang violence or whatever. We all came from that. I mean, that's where I grew up too. And a lot of my friends, back then, they're all gone, either from gang violence, killed by the police for, doing some not good things, or, dying of drug abuse or with HIV. One of my other friends got it from a needle. So we lost a lot of good people because they grew up in a really rough, unstable environment. And we were lucky that, we made it through okay and went on. And people think you're born with in a beautiful house. They don't understand we grew up in the projects, in those little tiny apartments. And, they think all these things just happen. It took years and years of hard work on your end and on my end to sort of get where we are. Nobody gave it to us.
That's right.
We had to work if they worked 5 days a week, we worked 7. If they did 8 hours, we did 15 hours a day. That's the way it happens. That's the way. It's sort of like David Goggins. You just keep going at it till you make it happen.
I love that.
That is so inspirational. I knew that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on, because just watching your life, just watching the things even on Facebook, you're going here, you're going there, and it's amazing the life that you're living. And for some people, but for me, that's inspiring. I got to tell you something. This is a confession. When I went, you invited me to the first International Sports Hall of Fame, I had stopped working out martial art. I just say, I'm just going to teach gymnastics. I'm getting too old. And when I was standing there, it was Dan Wilson that came up to me. I remember telling my wife this, and I think I told you from the side when I whispered it because you were kind of busy. But Dan Wilson started talking, and Dan Wilson just started talking and talking and talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Just because I'm 60 doesn't mean I got to stop. Blah, 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 blah. And he just kept talking, and I left so inspired from everyone that you had that day. From when they went and accepted, and the speech that they gave was so inspirational. I couldn't wait to get back home to work out.
Well, I mean, that's the basis of why I formed the International Sports Hall of Fame. It's not about great athletes. It's about great athletes that give back and inspire the next generation of athletes. You can be the greatest athlete in the world, but if you don't give back post-career or do charitable work, you're not a candidate. So we're only interested in those kind of people that are sport legends, have been inducted into their own respective Hall of Fame, whether it be martial arts, the NFL, the baseball, like a Johnny Bench in Baseball Hall of Fame, a Herschel Walker, Marcus Allen, a Heisman Trophy winner, or Olympians, a number of Olympians that we've had through here, or WWE world champions. Like probably one of the great, I like to create human dynamics at the event. And I think that the greatest human dynamic in all the years we've been doing this, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbu, and Bruno Sammartino. And if you're from New York, you know who Bruno is.
Yes.
Bruno was like a god wrestling. The last time I'd seen Bruno was when he was inducted into the World Bodybuilding Hall of Fame back in 1978, along with Jack LaLanne and Bill Pearl. And I worked for the Jack LaLanne Health Clubs back then. So coming into and seeing these guys was like seeing gods, like seeing legends. Like you couldn't believe you were in the same room with a Bruno Sammartino had this wide, and Jack LaLanne, who I worked for at the time. It was just, and Bill Pearl, who, I've been good friends with for decades. And at the, I forget which year, I think it was the 2013 or 2014 Sports Hall of Fame, Franco Columbu, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Bruno Sammartino had not seen each other for 45 years.
Wow.
Until I put them on that stage together. The last time they saw each other was working out in a gym where Arnold goes, my God, I can't believe this guy is so strong. He's lifting 400-pound guys over his head, Haystacks Calhoun. And that's who Bruno Sammartino threw.
Wow.
And these guys had not seen each other. And when I try to explain to people at the International Sports Hall of Fame ceremonies, I tell people, you really got to appreciate what you're seeing right now, because the odds are these people will never, ever be in this room together again. This is a once in a lifetime experience. Franco Colombo has passed away. Bruno Sammartino has passed away. This could never happen again. And those that were there, and having Triple H there, Randy Couture, Mark Henry, WWE World Champion, Triple H 13-time World Champion. You know, he had so many amazing people in the room at the same time that would never happen again. And so I try to stress to people for them to realize they are seeing history. They are seeing something that will never be again, and they're experiencing legendary situations that are once in a lifetime opportunity. And I think people appreciate that, and they understand, especially when they hear the speeches and the inspiration that comes out of that room. And that's been the whole goal of doing this every year. Nobody's charged. There's no sponsors. You don't pay to come in. I handle all the costs of flying everybody in the room and the food and the whole thing, so that it's all about the athlete. It's only about them and the inspiration that they can engender to others. And so it's been quite successful, not monetarily, because I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in inspiring that next generation. That's why we share all the photographs, all the, you know, nothing is charged. You come in, but we only allow 100 members of the international press and just a very small number, maybe 50 to 100 VIPs. And almost everybody in the room is either a world champion, you know, or a world record holder. So people go crazy in the room because there's looking around the room, and there's an Arnold Schwarzenegger here. There's a Mr. Olympia here. There's a world wrestling champion here. There's a Heisman Trophy winner. When do you get this experience in a small room that you're not 300 feet away with 20,000 or 100,000 people in front of you, where you can just walk up to these people?
Right.
And that's what's made it such a really unique, like, life-changing event for many people.
Yes, it was for us. I got to tell you that my wife, when she was younger,
oh my gosh,
she used to be afraid. She used to hide behind the couch when the Hulk came in.
when Bill Bixby changed into
you mean when Ferrigno would, you know, Louis was, I know Louis since way back in Brooklyn. You know, he's a bit older than me, but I know him since we were kids when he was first starting out. He's the only Hulk that they don't use CGI on. They just use his real body. And Louis at that time was like, you know, I think 6'4", 6'5", 310 pounds, all muscle. And all the other Hulks are all CGI, but Louis was, that was him.
The real stuff. Now tell your experience when you went.
Well, one of the things that I look forward to is when we know that event is coming up, is I look forward to my husband opening that email from you so we can see who's being inducted that year, because my mouth just drops. And the year that Lou Ferrigno was being inducted was like, because that is one thing that I always did with my dad. I always watched that with him as a kid, even though I was scared of it. And like my husband was saying, I hid behind the couch. But when I found out that he was being inducted, I was so excited. So I ended up bringing one of the seasons of my box set of The Incredible Hulk, the series. And I brought it to him, and he signed one of the DVDs for me. And that meant so much to me. And he's the sweetest man. He's gigantic. And he has the softest hands, which I would not even
Louis is a good man. And, you know, we know each other for decades. And he was, you know, when he first started bodybuilding and he came on that stage, they said, my God, look at the size of this guy. And he did get, you know, some nice TV and movie parts, and he, you know, he's had a great career. And of course, he's legendary in, you know, in our bodybuilding field. And, you know, it's always great to see him, and look forward to seeing him at the next event.
Well, that's a really special event. And like you said before, you mentioned about the speeches that they give. And I remember, you know, specifically, I remember a few things about Lee Haney's speech, you know, that were really touching. Your cousin.
Lee's a great guy. Lee, I know Lee since he was an amateur bodybuilder, because, you know, I'm chief doc. I've been chief doc for the bodybuilding sport worldwide, all 190 countries, going back to 1985. So I got to see a lot of these guys come up through the ranks where they were amateurs. They win, a state competition, the national competition. Then they go to the universe. Then they go pro, to the Olympia. So Lee and I go way, way, way back. What a tremendous guy. Lee has always been a class act, just a true gentleman. And that's why nobody could ever say a bad word about Lee Haney, because he's just stellar. He's just a great guy.
Right.
And now his kids are like monsters. I knew when they're little babies when he would hold them up on stage after he won another Olympia, and now his kids are, so it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And we always proud of people that we know. Like when we see them achieve something, we always get elated, so happy. Like when I see my wife on stage, I'm so happy for her, And so when I saw you on stage, I always been happy. Like when I saw you on TV, I was happy. When I saw you book, I was happy. But there's a thing that I got to show that almost brought tears to my eyes, because every time I always said to you, who's going to give you an award? You're giving everybody an award, but you deserve an award. And this is what I'm talking about. It's better if I show this video.
Okay. Let's go to the clip.
It's short video, but bear with me.
Well, every year we give out the Lifetime Achievement Award, and it's always for people that have contributed a lot, not only to the health and fitness of people in America, but all over the world. And I think there's no one that is better qualified to receive this award than my very good friend Bob, who has done such an extraordinary job throughout, decades, I would say, and helped so many bodybuilders with nutrition and with supplements and advice, diet advice and so on, and the world, and staying younger. This is his expertise. And this is why I'm kissing up to him a little bit, because he has all the secrets to how to stay young and to stay fit forever. So anyway, Bob, you deserve this award, this Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you very much for all the great work that you're doing around the world, all the great research you're doing that we all benefiting from. So thank you, and here it is. Let's give him a big, big hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor Schwarzenegger.
Okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, Arnold always likes to play games with me. We always have a watch competition. It was funny.
Right.
I worked on that speech for a month, and he goes and he tries to take it away from me. But of all the awards I've got during my career, that one is one of the, if not the most special, one of the most, but I would say it's probably the most, because it was given to my idols and my mentors, Jack Lalanne, Joe Weider, Ben Weider, Reg Park, who was Arnold's idol. That was the most valuable situation for me, because at that stage of my career, actually before all the martial arts award things, I thought I'd spend the remainder of my career just giving awards out, not getting any. I didn't expect, anything. I was just more interested in giving them out than getting them. But I guess in the martial arts community, they sure like to give them out. So, when you come, and the events are a lot of fun. But that was a very, very special thing, because Jim Lorimer was still alive, and he still is, thank goodness. My folks were fine, and they were there.
Yeah.
It was really a pinnacle for me to have my family there, to have Arnold there, to have my Jim Lorimer, who was Arnold's mentor and lifelong friend, to have everybody there along with the 5,000 people. And I also viewed it as an opportunity to reach out to those kids who were questioning themselves, were down, maybe a little depressed about what was going on in their lives, to reach out to them and say, look, everyone fails. Arnold's failed. I failed multiple times. Don't give up on your dream. Even if you failed, every failure brings you closer to that success. Every no brings you closer to that yes. Don't be discouraged by failures. We all fail. You only learn from those failures. And I had, after that, and I had these, 5,000 people in the audience. I can't tell you how many young people came up to me after that over the years saying, you know what? You saved my life that day. I was going to commit suicide.
Wow.
I was going to end it. And after you told me that speech, I got back in the gym. I got back to my sport. I got my confidence back. I cannot tell you how many young people over the years came up to me and said that was the thing that changed their life. So that's what I try to do with the International Sports Hall of Fame. And that's why we spend we spend what's necessary to have the videos done so we can get them out there, and it's free. Anybody who wants to access these things can, and we try to get them to understand you will fail. You will fail often. You will fail a lot. It does not matter. All that matters is that you keep going at it. You keep trying. I used to keep a plaque in my office. You have a plaque with those little metal plates on it. I had a plaque with 30 little metal plates on it that I filled up with my failures. And I ran out of space 20 years earlier, didn't bother doing it anymore. But at the end of the day, 1 out of 14 ends up being a win. And if you get a big win, it doesn't matter anymore. You already won the game. So the goal is to never give up and to keep pushing ahead no matter what the obstacles. As long as you believe in yourself and you understand that failure is a learning experience. It's not fail. You didn't fail. You didn't lose. You learned how to do something better. And especially in sport competition. When you fail, you didn't lose. You learn what to do next time when you're in that event or when you're facing that person. You now know their moves a little bit better. And maybe you'll do better next time. But the goal is never giving up.
That's awesome. That's awesome advice. A lot of the kids, my kids, wanted to watch tonight because I said, well, my friend did a handstand push-up and he held the records for it. So we want to watch tonight. But they're probably sleeping now.
Probably.
They'll watch this later.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, and I only use a little part of that thing. But you could go and get it on YouTube and watch the whole speech because you got to watch that speech. And, I didn't put the whole thing because then we run out of time and we really wanted to talk to you. But there's so much that you have done. And, some people talk about Oprah Winfrey and they call it the Oprah effect. You have the Goldman effect because, well, you already have it on your name, Gold. And everything that you do turns to gold. But just the way that you're saying that you have failure, that will inspire people that fail and think that they got to give up.
It also doesn't matter, if you grew up poor in the ghetto and the projects, it doesn't matter. If you keep your focus and you keep trying, and the thing is not giving up and keep working and working smart and not getting overly frustrated with yourself and also helping other people along the way. I think it's important, you give, you get. And when you enrich other people's lives, it's your life that really gets enriched. And that's why charitable work has always been so important to me. Even when I didn't have a lot of money, even early in my career, I would always take a small portion, even if I didn't have much at all, to go and do charitable works. And now, fortunately, I'm in a better position where I can do, much more significant things. But the goal is to not give up, not only just not to give up, to not to give up on yourself. People don't understand that the human spirit is so powerful, and you keep going at it, and it gets easier over time. You just can't allow that to emotionally affect you, to stop you from reaching your goals.
That's awesome.
That is absolutely inspiring. I remember we were having a conversation the other day when we were talking about, when we were going to have Dr. Bob on, and I remember saying to my husband, I was like, Dr. Bob, he's always everywhere. He's doing this. He's involved in so much. I said, he is like one of the most humble people.
Yes.
So humble. And that's so refreshing. You because that old cliche, they say, never forget where you came from, and that just, it resonates with you. You're such a humble person. And it has been an honor to know you.
Well, we're only here for a nanosecond anyway. I went through some monk Buddhist training, and we're only here for a nanosecond anyway. And people think there's no Brinks truck following you to the cemetery. Okay, you got to do what you can to inspire and leave a legacy by the lives you touch.
Right.
And people who think that they could take it with them, I got news for you. You cannot take it with you. It doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk, you ain't taking it with you. It's going away, or Steve Bezos or whoever. Okay, so do good deeds and help others and lift others up. And by doing so, you really lift yourself up, because you're now inspiring and you're helping others who need that help. So when you run into like people that are very cocky or, condescending, I've had every kind of job. I was a waiter, a busboy, I cleaned toilets. And to this day, even though I own these large homes and stuff, I'll still throw out the garbage. I'll still go to the dumpster. If a room needs to get swept, even if there's no cleaning people, I'll go do it. There's no job below you. There's no task below you. People who don't understand that, they're kind of missing, they're in fantasy land. You do what you need to do whenever you need to do it, but you have to never think that you are above and that you're going to be here forever, because you're not.
Exactly.
And so you might as well do and touch as many lives in a positive way as you can while you are here, and see what kind of legacy you can leave behind that people will think in a positive way, and they will make their lives more positive because of what you've done. That's why getting the Arnold Award with Jack LaLanne and Ben and Joe Weider. I wrote Ben Weider a letter when I was 13 years old telling him I wanted to be a doctor. And he wrote me back over and over again. Can you imagine a guy, very wealthy, powerful man, running World Federation, and he's writing a 13-year-old kid back personally with inspirational and saying, great. And then I ended up becoming world chairman of his medical commission when I was 25. And I didn't meet him until I was 24. This is after like 13 years of, 12, 13 years of writing letters, corresponding, never meeting. But he inspired me, as did Joe, as did Arnold Schwarzenegger and Reg Park, who was Arnold's idol, and so on, as I mentioned. They pass the torch. So it really is our job. And Pedro, you do it, with your training, the gymnasts and the young girls and all the athletes you take care of. I have one funny story, though, I got to tell you about your name, Pedro. When I was in medical school, there was a Chinese student who was my roommate my second year of medical school, and his name was Pedro Chan. And I asked him, he's from China directly. I said, why did you pick the name Pedro? He said in his broken English, he understood English well, but he didn't speak that very well. He said, when I came to America, I went to a Mexican movie and everybody was named Pedro. So that's what name I took. And, so he's now a doctor down in Florida. Because I was on with you, I looked him up and I'm going to contact with him. I've not spoken to him since 1983, I think.
Wow.
So I'm going to give him a call and just say hello.
That's hysterical.
That is awesome.
Another Pedro.
Yes, that's a good name. When I went on Regis filming, he called me the Black Jack LaLanne.
Regis is a great guy, terrific guy.
Yeah, I miss him.
He was in great shape too. I mean, when he was, in his prime, he was a good athlete. He was in good shape.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I learned some exercise from him. Actually, I started doing the 5 Tibetan rights from him. With the spinning and the, that's where I learned that from. But yeah, he used to call me the Black Jack LaLanne. I said, no, I want to be the.
That's a big compliment.
Yes, it was a compliment. But I wanted to be the Dominican Bob Goldman.
Well, when I did that TV show you're talking about, it was Midday Live with Bill Boggs.
Yes.
And that's when I was working for Jack, and as an instructor, and I was demonstrating world records. Many of the records I broke were Jack LaLanne's records, and he was a little odd with me on camera. And when Bill Boggs says, "Well, why did you start doing this?" I said, "My whole inspiration is this guy over here, Jack LaLanne." And after that, he was all, "This is what we need. Young people are going to be doctors."
Yes.
So Jack was a pretty remarkable guy, and I mean, even in his 60s and 70s, amazing what he could do.
Right, he pulled 70 boats with his teeth.
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tried swimming.
Yeah, that was
really. And Elaine LaLanne is still alive. She's 95. Jack passed when he was 95. He had heart surgery, and then he wasn't the same. he passed the following year. But Elaine is 95, going strong, and she's still, she's still going at it.
Yeah, great lady.
Yeah,
I met her
terrific,
thanks
terrific.
to you.
Yeah, yeah.
We met her. You
Yeah,
were there too,
yep.
right? We met her thanks to you. Yes, she was talking about juicing.
So we ended up
Yeah,
buying
the juicer did very well for them. They did very well with that device. Do you know how
Yeah.
much George Foreman made on the George Foreman grill?
I can only imagine.
Take a guess.
Is it in the billions?
No, you billions are only these days. We're going back, 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
2 million.
200 million.
200 million.
Which
200
today
million.
would be like 3 or 4 billion.
Wow.
So he did. I ran into George on because he's a potential candidate for the future for the Hall of Fame. I ran into him. I was flying back from Bangkok. It was either Bangkok or Beijing, and we're in the first class section. And I saw him on the side there, and I went over and had a nice chat with him. And he was with his son because he usually travels with George Jr. with one of his sons. And his hands are, when I shook his hands are so big, it was like shaking a catcher's mitt. So you can imagine how powerful this guy was when he used to punch somebody. I'm glad Ali survived it, Oh, I got a funny Ali story for you. A funny Arnold and an Ali story. I'll do it quick because I know you're running out of time. When I was a med student, the first time I met Arnold, he was filming Raw Deal, one of his movies in Chicago. And this is before we really knew each other. And so I stuck my head in his trailer. I said, "Hey, Arnold, hey," he had Sven, his bodyguard, throw me out. So the first time I met Arnold, he threw me out of his trailer. And Muhammad Ali had a big mansion in Hyde Park in Chicago at that time. And I wanted to see him. So he had these huge gates. They were like, 20 feet tall, these big black metal gates. I climbed the gates and went in, knocked on the front door, and these 2 huge bodyguards came to the front door. I said, "Hey, I want to say hello to the champ." They said, "Get out of here, little boy, before you get hurt." So I didn't get to meet the champ that time, but I did get to meet Arnold.
Oh,
That's
We're going
very
way back,
brave
though.
to do that.
A long time ago.
Very, very brave.
I'm
Yeah, I was
interested in some of the.
little wild back then.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the patents that you have and the brain resuscitation? Did I say that right?
It was close enough.
I'm sorry, say what now?
The patents that you have,
Yeah. One time I was overseeing a patent portfolio of over 150 medical patents. I did cooperative research agreements with the American National Red Cross, NASA, the FDA devices for radiologic health, Stanford Research Institute. I had a number of biotech companies, which I founded. In fact, to this day, the organ preservation devices that I helped co-invent way back when have saved tens of thousands of lives, making more organs available. So, but that was, quite a while ago. We were working with the blood preservation teams at the Red Cross. And so we've done some pretty interesting stuff over the years. Sometimes I forget this stuff because we've done so many things over these years. I kind of forget.
Of course. I just posted a comment from Daryl Brackett. He said, "Speaking of Arnold, my wife Jenny Beth was an extra in Raw Deal when she was in college."
Yeah, that was one of his early movies, and yeah, I got thrown out of the trailer.
Not now.
He gave me the Terminator look when he saw me coming in.
Uh-oh.
But years later, I mean, I would go visit him on set when he was filming Kindergarten Cop. I went to visit him. In fact, had a crazy experience. I spent the day with him there in the trailer, and with all the whole gang and everything, and saw some of the movie. I was lecturing for one of the big pharmaceutical houses in California, and on the way back, the rental car I had, I blew out 3 tires simultaneously. Almost got killed on the way back. So when I saw him the next time, I say, "Arnold, after I saw you that time, I almost got terminated." So, and I show up to lecture to all these doctors, and my white shirt, because I was wearing a jacket, my white shirt was all black from all the soot and all the dirt and the grease from trying to change my tires on the highway in the middle of the night with no lights on. So it was a interesting evening.
Oh my gosh.
But I did get to hang out with him for the day, so it was worth it.
That's cool. And
I have a question about the crest on your jacket.
Well, there are a few different crests. I mean, the International Sports Hall of Fame logo crest, you know what that is, but I was ennobled into the royal family, first time in 1,800 years they ever made an outsider part of the Royal House of Gushan. So I was given levels of Knight Commander, Knight Hospitaller. I'm the representative to the United Nations for the Royal House, and have been given the designation of Sheikh and Duke aside from Knight. I don't use any of those things, but it was certainly an honor to receive, you know, those honors.
It every time I see you in the jacket, it reminds me of the Master's jacket.
Well, the Master's jacket you get paid a lot
nicer.
more for. I do this all as a volunteer. In fact, most of my activities are all volunteer. Even early when I was practicing medicine, I wouldn't even charge the patient. So I would say 80% of my activities are all volunteer, you know, non-paid volunteer work. And I think a lot more people need to do more volunteer work and try and help others. I think it's a good way to conduct yourself.
Yes,
That's
yes.
awesome.
I believe volunteer work is very important.
So you did the anti-bully. You kind of started something.
Yeah, the people on the East Coast tied to the martial arts Action on Film Festival and so on, and the Action Martial Arts event. The anti-bullying, and Ray Mercer was a world champion boxer. Myself, Michael Jai White, a lot of us have Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef and so on. We've all volunteered our time for the anti-bullying campaigns. We think it's very important, but you know, it's good. That's why we like martial arts. We like teach kids how to defend themselves. Don't go run away. You know, defend yourself if you have to. But if you learn these arts, you're not to use them to hurt others, only to defend yourself. And so, you know, if somebody's a bully, the last thing you do is actually hit somebody. And especially with our level of skill, if somebody hits you, you walk away. If you can get away, get away. Don't go into this macho stuff, as you know and as I know. Because all that's going to happen is you're going to get arrested, or you're going to be in trouble, or you could hurt somebody very badly. So the first rule is get out of there. And the second rule is get the hell out of there. You know, and then if your back is against the wall, then all bets are off. But until that point in time, you don't play macho, you play nice. Like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. You be nice until it's time not to be nice.
Nice reference.
Yeah, talk yourself out of the situation first. That's the first rule.
Talk yourself out. Let them call you names. Who cares?
Yeah. When I was younger, you know, I always used to make this joke that when people used to say, you know, your mother, those were fighting words back then. But because I didn't understand the language, I used to say, my mother, she's fine. How's yours?
You know, I used to work I was very young at the time. Again, I fibbed on my age. I worked the door at Studio 54. I was only 17. All the other bodyguards were like, you know, I worked there in the library disco as well. I was only like 17. But I was a little guy. All the other bodyguards were 6'2", 6'4", and I'm like, you know, 5'9", but they would always call me in because I'd be the one that would lead the person out by putting him in a certain move, you know, finger lock or whatever, and walk the people out. So, I mean, that's how I helped pay for my medical school application, was working as a bouncer, and then I worked as a bodyguard for some of the celeb upper elite in Manhattan. But, you know, it was not a job I really liked because I didn't want to have to hurt anybody.
That's so funny. I said to my wife that we have a lot of things in common. I was joking half of it, and some of it actually true, because I was a bouncer also, and I was bouncing for the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Ah, okay.
So there was this big guy one time, really big guy, and you remember how I was back then when you know, when I was like this. Before I went to your you know, personal training, I was really skinny. Actually, I was skinny when I went there. And people thought that they could get away with attacking me because I was really skinny. So, where's the bouncer? Where's the bouncer? So I had to take the guy out. And then after that, you know, the word got around. They never messed with me again. So, yeah, I was a bouncer for Rocky Horror Picture Show and the Latin Dance Club.
Yeah. Locally.
It's
Yeah.
not a job that's really a lot of fun. And when I worked at a few of the places, one of them made me wear a tuxedo, which I hated. But at that time I was bodybuilding also, so I was like very big. And they had to cut this tuxedo to pieces because I was like this. So I was only 5'9", but I weighed 210 pounds.
Wow.
So it was like a gorilla, a short little gorilla compared to the guys who were like 6'4". But it's not a job that was really the kind of job I like to do, but you got to pay the bills when you're trying to make medical school applications. So actually my bouncing and my bodyguarding paid for my medical school applications.
Wow.
I should have stayed longer. I know that since you were a teenager, you always were buff. You always be very,
Very fit.
Yeah. So what?
Well, it'd be bad for business otherwise, right?
Right, that's right. Now, what events do you have coming up? I know you have the anti-aging. Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I sent you the invite. We're gonna have we hold the largest anti-aging longevity conference in the world, and we're back live again, and it'll be this December, and looking forward to seeing the whole gang again. And I also do a session with the martial arts gang, and that's held on Saturday at 1:30 in the Expo. And I'm seeing who's showing up. Quite a few of the gang are going to show up. They're coming in from California, and we have quite a crew. We should have about 3,000, 4,000, not 6,000 like we usually do, but by next year I'm sure we'll go back up there. But I think we'll have 3,000 or 4,000 docs and people and exhibitors, and we take 500,000 square feet, so it's still an enormous show.
That is a great event because it's like the cutting edge of doctors.
Yeah. I mean, these are guys you couldn't even get an appointment in to see, and they're just walking around, so it's a great opportunity for people who want the opportunity to talk to, these top neurosurgeons or brain surgeons or hormone replacement docs or plastic surgery or so on. It's a very unique opportunity.
Now you have 2 physician and surgeon medical degrees, which is very rare. I don't think there's anybody else in the world that has medical degree and osteopath degree.
Well, there are some people, not a lot, but very few that would be an MD, a DO, and have 2 PhDs. So 4 doctorates. So that's not common at all. You will see guys that are MD PhDs, or you'll see guys that are MD DOs. Not a lot, but they're out there, but not with that many, letters.
Not with that many letters.
Except for maybe you.
You're doing the opposite.
Remember, you're the boss, but the wife is a super boss.
That's right. That's what she says. And I believe her. Well, listen, I have this whole thing, but I don't think we could cover all of this, Oh, look at this. All friends.
Look at that young man.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, that was back in the old days, yeah. Yeah, I think I just set like 4 world records that morning.
Wow. Before breakfast, huh?
Before breakfast, but boy, I did eat a lot of breakfast.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh, it has been such an honor to have you on, Doc. We can't wait to see you face to face in person after almost 2 years.
Yeah, I'm real happy about everything. I hope it will continue to open up like this, and we all get to see each other and all start to get together on a regular basis again. And congratulations to you guys on having your own show. I usually turn all show interviews down, but not for you guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is very kind of you. Very kind of you.
We're working on getting the show. We can't talk about it yet, but the show is going to go with All Day Martial Art Network.
Oh, right. Yeah. Alan's with Alan's.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes,
good.
we talked to him last week.
Yep.
Okay, so we could talk to you all night. You're so inspirational. I hope that I know that people got something out of this interview.
Yeah.
And I want them to go and actually watch your speech that you did when you received the Lifetime Award.
Yeah, yeah.
Because-
we could definitely post the link
Yeah.
when we post this video.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
would
that
do
was
that.
a
My
very
wife will-
special, very special day, special
Mhm.
evening rather.
Yeah.
And say hello to your seafood.
Which one? I got a number of them. Samuel Kwok or?
Salmon Quack.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, he just wrote me several times today. He told me that they're putting me in the Argentinian Black Belt Hall of Fame, the top 50 black belts or something. He just wrote me today. So I just thanked him and and actually he will be coming to Vegas in December. So I haven't seen him in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, he's I was with him in Hong Kong. First we were together in Bangkok. And then we all went to Bruce Lee's statue in Hong Kong, and then went to Ip Man's studio where Bruce Lee trained. And it was
Wow.
myself and Simon Cook, who was in Ip Man 3, and then a few other guys. And we had a great time, especially when we visited Ip Man's grave and we did Wing Chun in front of Ip Man's grave.
Oh,
So that
Wow.
was very special.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Well, you tell him to say hello. Now we say hello. And can't wait to see him.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah,
we'll see
can't
you
wait to
guys
see you.
soon and keep up the good work. And I hope you get 5 million subscribers so you could both retire and just do your videos.
Well, I think this brought it up.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much,
you
Doc.
so
Have
much.
a good night. We
All
hope
right,
to
good
see
seeing you
soon.
guys.
Say hello
Okay.
to Mark.
Yeah.
Okay. That was awesome. That was awesome. He's such a good guy.
Daryl is so funny.
You know, we had to make an announcement before we go, because our friend that we had on the show before, he's having an event coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Our good friend Lorenzo, whose cookbook came out a few months back, he has an event coming up. It's on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Cooking with Lorenzo.
Is it this Thursday though?
Yeah, I believe so. That's why I wanted to do the.
And what time is that, Mr. Tweed?
Oh,
Well, you should have
But anyway, we posted on Tweed Talk the page.
So his event is
Oh.
Thursday the 11th. He's going to be on Christopher Kimball's Milk Street, sharing a recipe or two from his new cookbook. His new cookbook is Let's Do This, Folks, Home Cooking with Lorenzo. So you have to go to the link to Eventbrite. And actually on his page, there is a discount code of 15%. The code is good all the way through the day of the class. And hope you folks come along for a fun ride. So we will make sure we share that. So you guys, if you are maybe looking for something to make on Thursday, or you want to just practice a new dish for your girlfriend that's coming over and you don't know how to cook.
Look at this. That too bad being knighted.
That is crazy.
That's another one that I missed.
Wow.
Okay, and this is him doing the handstands. All right.
That is definitely the 70s. I can tell by the swim trunks.
I
I saw a couple pictures of you in those swim trunks.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Leon, thank you for coming on, Leon.
Yeah.
And Daryl.
Thank you guys for participating in the comments.
Yeah, this is going in so many different pages that we can't tell who's watching here or who's watching on my page or who's watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, but we thank everybody for coming.
Yeah.
And
you
as
guys.
always, love, peace, and harmony.
And harmony.
I'm going to go and play my piano now.
Have a good night.
Okay. Thank you.